Omajnana-timirandasya gyananjana-shalakaya chakshurunmitanjena tasmai Śrī Gurave Namaha. Śrī Guru Vargandharva Govinda Glinganaisaha Vande Prasadato-yesham Sarvam Vishubhankana. So we're very happily continuing with Śrī Bhakta-vachanāmṛtam, and it's very, very joyful. What we're being given here, it's so valuable because whatever we may be going through, in our minds, or whatever circumstances we may be facing, we can tune in to that, and like on the relative plane, there can be like chaos going on, but we have this opportunity, no matter what it is that we're facing, to tune in to this absolute current where everything's perfect and everything's beautiful. We get these like glimpses. It's like these expressions of the devotees are like windows, giving us some glimpse into reality proper. So it is this opportunity that we have. It is inconceivable. That prayer, we'll come to a prayer of Parikshit Maharaj. And I think it's in confidence in the Lord's protection, that section. The very beautiful verse where he's saying he's like on the brink of death, and he's about to die because of this curse, but he's completely removed from that, and he has this very beautiful expression. Tam upayitam pratiyantu vipra gangacha devi jita chitta mishe dvijo pashishta kuhakastakshakova dasatvalam gayata vishnu gata. That whatever is supposed to happen to me, let it, in this temporary world, let it happen to me. I'm meant to die because of this curse, then let it be. But my only prayer is that this Vishnu Gata, this Hari Gata, these happy tidings, of the Lord, they may go on perpetually, and all may be blessed and uplifted by that. Let this eternal current, let it continue its flow. Let all, bathe in that flow. And whatever is supposed to happen to me in my tiny little existence and relative world, that's okay. It can happen. It is not so important in the big picture of things. So here we have, reality as is expressed, from the hearts of the pure devotees. And now we've come to chapter 3, so this is like the main, coming to the main, these following six chapters are like the main section, main chunk of the book, covering these 6 limbs of Sharanagati, as expressed from the hearts of the devotees. And so beginning with this chapter 3, Śrī Bhakta-vachanāmṛtam, Ānukūlyasya Saṅkalpaḥ, this mood of Sharanagati, this aspect of Sharanagati, to accept everything that is favorable, everything that is supportive of devotion, of seva, service to the Lord, to the devotees, that we will accept that. And then the following chapter, Pratikulya-vivarjana, rejection of the unfavorable. And these 2 principles are very, very important for our devotional life. They are foundational to the movement of progress. Srila Maharaj, and both, and you can't have one and not the other. They must be hand in hand to have the full effect. Srila Maharaj defines progress as elimination and new acceptance. So for there to be some progressive movement in our spiritual lives, then we must be able to leave aside that which is unhelpful, and at the same time to accept, to imbibe, to take that which is helpful. These 2 things must be side by side, and that constitutes real progress, a progressive spiritual life. And these advices are very practical. The other aspects of Sharanagati, they're more on a subtle level. I mean, these 2 principles also must take place in a subtle level. But there are also, many of these advices are very practical things, whereas the others, they're more like surrounding a mood, to have a particular mood, confidence in the Lord's protection, embracing His guardianship. This is all happening on a more subtle level. But these 2 points of accepting what's favorable, rejecting what's unfavorable, they're very like practical things that we can begin to apply here and now, no matter where our head is at. So in that sense, they're more simple to follow. Okay, so we can begin. Chapter 3, Śrī Bhakta-vachanāmṛtam, words of nectar from the devotees. Ānukūlyasya Saṅkalpaḥ, acceptance of the favorable. And also another thing we can mention before we begin. This word Saṅkalpa, I'm not an expert, but we normally render this as just accepting. But as I've understood, it, like in the Vedic context, this word Saṅkalpa, it has very serious connotations. Maybe you're familiar with it.
We use it for saying an affirmation at the beginning of a relaxation, so it goes into the subconscious mind, so a positive direction for your life.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
Okay.
Stating that.
Okay. Well, the way I've heard it is a Saṅkalpa, it can have the connotation of like you're taking like a vow, like a serious promise.
Yep.
That I will do this.
Yeah, it's always in the positive. It's always framed positively.
So it has like these serious implications. Those things that we will, take as favorable, it will be in this like very serious spirit. Okay. And then we can also mention that at the beginning of each of these upcoming 6 chapters, Srila Maharaj, he has as the very first verse, a verse of his own, an original Sanskrit verse of his own, which like distills the essence of that particular mood. Like summarizes the whole chapter, you can say, in this one verse. So, and if we can only learn those 6 or study those 6, then we've really got something. And then following that, Srila Maharaj has, so many verses that he has collected with his own unique illumination, of course. Okay, so this is first verse, Srila Maharaj's summary of this particular mood of Sharanagati. Krishna Kṛṣṇa Sad Bhakti Prapanna-jivanamrtam kṛtyatva-niśchayaś chānukūlya-saṅkalpa uchyate. Everything should be done that encourages the service of Śrī Kṛṣṇa and his devotee, and whatever is conducive to the state of exclusive surrender must be executed. Such a firm conviction is called Ānukūlyasya Saṅkalpaḥ, acceptance of the favorable. Whatever encourages the service of Krishna and his devotee, Kṛṣṇa, whatever is conducive to the state of exclusive surrender, that must be done. And then the very first verse here. Śrī Kṛṣṇa Saṅkirtanam eva tat padashritanam paramānukūlam. So this is Srila Maharaj's illumination. Of everything favorable, Hari Saṅkirtan, performed by souls surrendered unto the lotus feet of Lord Hari, is paramount. So, Hari Kirtan, Krishna Kirtan, this has been given as the number one thing. This is the Kali Yuga Dharma. This is what Mahaprabhu came to give. This is the supremely beneficial thing for all humanity. And then Param Guru Maharaj has selected here the very first verse of Siksastakam. And one may ask, the Siksastakam is by Mahaprabhu, but this chapter is called Bhakta-vachanāmṛtam, words from the devotees. But that is because Param Guru Maharaj, he mentions that earlier, that Mahaprabhu, although he's the Supreme Lord, he's in the mood of a devotee. So his expressions are those of one who is a devotee. And so, therefore, throughout these 6 chapters, Param Guru Maharaj has included various, maybe all of the Siksastakam is included, or many of the verses from most of the verses at least, from Siksastakam, they're included here. So here, the very first verse of Siksastakam, which is so wonderful, and that's another text that we can study. Siksastakam. But Śrīla Gurudev mentioned about this verse, that everything's actually within this verse. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamah devagni nirvapanam shreya kairava chandrikavi taranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhi vardhanam pratipadam purnamrita svadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Śrī Kṛṣṇa Saṅkalpaḥ. May the Śrī Kṛṣṇa Saṅkalpaḥ be all victorious in its pristine glory. This congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord cleanses the looking glass of consciousness, extinguishes the raging forest fire of material existence, and spreads the benediction moon rays that cause the lotus of the heart to bloom. This chanting is the life and soul of divine consorthood, expanding the ocean of pure ecstasy. It is the flavor of full nectar at every moment, bathing and cooling the entire self. So, very wonderful verse. And we're very fortunate because Param Guru Maharaj, Śrī Maharaj, she's given very wonderful commentaries on these verses of the Siksastakam. And they're published in Golden Volcano, of course. And Śrīla Gurudev actually mentioned that if Goswami Maharaj, Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj, if he had not published anything else of Śrīla Maharaj's talks other than these talks on the Siksastakam, then it would be complete, because they're so valuable for us. So, Cheto darpanamarjanam, the mirror of the consciousness, it will be cleansed. And in that explanation in Golden Volcano, Śrīla Maharaj explains that our desires for both exploitation and renunciation, they create this kind of dust. They create so many units of this material plane which form a kind of dust, that clouds our consciousness, that covers our consciousness. And he comments that for that reason we cannot receive properly, actually, because we may hear, we experience sometimes, we're hearing the same thing over every day, again and again. We're singing the same songs every day, again and again. And then 5 years later, one day something strikes you. Oh, I never got that before. In one ear and out the other, but it's not really registering because there's no space there. So we're not able to properly hear and receive and imbibe, spiritual advices because of this dust, this attraction and aversion. These are like the two things that bind us in the duality of this world: our attraction and our aversion, rejection. They're both based on illusion. So this obscures our consciousness, covers our soul's body, our conscious body, and we cannot really perceive who we really are. We cannot really perceive the real nature of things. But through this is the first effect of kirtan, of Saṅkirtan, that purification will take place. And I have a note here. I think it's also in that commentary in Golden Volcano, but Param Guru Maharaj also makes the point that the whole Varnashram system of India, which is really based on the principle of Nishkam karma. That's the final effect of it, really. Purification of the consciousness. Through selflessly carrying out one's duty, and avoiding this whole entanglement of like and dislike, what we're discussing. That's what entangles us in this world, So by avoiding all of that and simply engaging in selfless duty, then purification of the consciousness takes place. And so Srila Śrī Maharaj points out that this is like the whole Varnashram system with all its complexity. This is this is like the final attainment of that. But that's the first attainment of Harinam, of taking the Lord's name. So that is the first step mentioned here in the Bhavmah Devagni Nirvapanam, that the burning forest fire of material existence, that will be nirvapanam, that will be extinguished. So only with the second stride of Harinam, liberation is effected. And in that commentary, Srila Śrī Maharaj mentions these three principal types of suffering that every conditioned soul experiences, which you're all familiar with. Adi-atmic, the suffering that comes from within our own self, whether bodily, through disease and so on, or mentally, adibhotic suffering, which is caused by other living entities, other human beings, or animals, insects, and so on and so forth, which we all know about. And adidaivic, which literally means suffering caused by the devas. It means in the form of environmental disturbances, too much rain, too much sun, and flood, and hurricane, and so on and so forth. All of these disturbances. So all of that will be, removed, for that soul. And then, with only the third step, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. This is so beautiful, this verse, this line. Only with the third step, then the positive attainment, it begins. And this analogy is so wonderful. This Kairava, it is a type of lotus flower that, because there's many different kinds of lotus flowers, and in fact in Sanskrit there's like something like over 100 different words for lotus. One of our devotees in Hungary, he's a Sanskrit scholar, and he came up with a list once. And I think it was over 100. It was a lot. But there's many different names for lotus, many different types of lotuses. And so Kairava is a particular type of lotus that blooms under the moonlight. Generally we think of flowers as blooming under the sun, but there are some. You have some in Australia too, right? Mm-hmm. They bloom at night under the moon instead of the sun. So this is a particular type of lotus that blooms under the moonlight, and so the holy name is compared to moonlight. It's so beautiful. So under the like you're in this fire of the material world, and then this cooling rays of the moon, cooling rays of the holy name that are giving some nourishment, and that flower is blossoming, that lotus of the heart is blossoming under the rays of that that holy name. And so Srila Śrī Maharaj explains this refers to attainment to some particular seva. One is awakening. The lotus of the heart is awakening and blossoming. But what that means is that one is awakening into a life of dedication. One is finding their nature. One is finding their self within the plane of dedication. In this world, we think that we establish ourselves. We determine who we are by what we have, and what we can do, and how much we can exploit. How much money we have, what car we have, and so on. And how many people are under us, and so on. And all of these things give us some sense of status. But it is just the opposite. All those things are actually taking us very far away from the soul proper. The soul actually begins to wake up and discover itself in the plane of giving, in the spirit of giving and dedication. So the soul begins to awaken in that world of dedication, to find itself there. And so that means on a practical level, within the first 4 rasas, Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, these different serving moods and relationships with Krishna, the soul will find some place there. And then the next one, Vidyavadu Jivanam. This is referring to Madhura Ras, to that conjugal relationship with Krishna. The holy name can take one a step higher to that. And this is actually like a mysterious phrase, and it's really only Srila Śrī Maharaj who's clearly given it the meaning. Because it's very esoteric, very, very fine, this meaning, very high. Because literally it says something like this holy name, it is the life of the wife of knowledge. This word vadu, it means like a young girl, like a young lady. So it's a very cryptic expression, and it hasn't really been explained by our acharyas, but Srila Śrī Maharaj has explained that it is referring to Madhura Ras. That it will stimulate one, awaken one, enliven, inspire one in that relationship. Also, the holy name can take one there. So here it is put according to Srila Śrī Maharaj's explanation. I think there may have been some hint of something in the commentaries of some other acharyas, but it wasn't clearly explained. But Srila Śrī Maharaj, he gave that clear explanation. So here it is put, this chanting is the life and soul, divine consort. Right? Then Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. It is the Vardhana means like increasing, and Anandam Buddhi means an ocean of Ananda, an ocean of joy. So it is increasing, expanding that. Or here it's expanding the ocean of pure ecstasy. Pratipadam Purnamrita Svadanam. That at every step, there is the taste, there is the flavor of Purnamrita, full nectar. So Srila Śrī Maharaj comments on this line in Loving Search, saying how it is a fresh, it is the joy that you experience there. It is something fresh. He says something like, it is not the stale joy that we experience in this world. But it's always increasing, it's always new, it's always fresh, and always better. Sarvatma Snapanam, which can mean that like every Sarva Atma, like every aspect, every faculty, every facet of our existence, it will be fully snapanam, which it can mean either fully purified or fully satisfied. So this wholesale transformation, wholesale fulfillment will take place. And then Param Vijayate, So those are 7. The 7 effects of the holy name. And then finally this phrase is very wonderful. Param vijayate Śrī Kṛṣṇa Saṅkalpaḥ. That may this, this vijayate, it's the same as this word jai, right? But it's more emphasized in this form. So, like referring to victory, that may it be like all conquering, may it be all the pada, may it be supremely victorious, conquer everything else. So many waves and currents and interests in this worldly plane. But may this Harinam, may this Krishna Sankirtan, may that conquer every other way. May it be, supremely victorious and glorious in all its dignity. And then Śrī is here, indicating the potency of the Lord. So the Lord and His potency are being worshipped. And Sankirtanam, Sankirtan is mentioned here, not Kirtan, but Sankirtan. And so Śrīla Maharaj also discusses that point. This word Sankirtan means samyak kirtan. The word samyak means complete, full. And so it can mean, so the word Sankirtan, generally we use it to mean like there's many people, and in that sense it's very full, more than one person. That is Sankirtan. But Śrīla Maharaj also explains that for the kirtan to really be full, to be complete, it must be describing the most complete conception, expression of divinity. That is Krishna. So it must be, real Sankirtan, it must be about Krishna, because Krishna is the most developed expression of divinity. And Srila Gurudev, he's also mentioned that Sankirtan, in terms of like one's own mood, that it means kirtan performed with humility, tolerance, and respect, with the proper mood, the proper heart, proper consciousness, then one can really do Sankirtan. Then it will. And there's another very nice expression of Srila Gurudev's. He says like when everyone's hearts come together, like there's this harmony, this combines, expression of kirtan in this very harmonious way. That is also Sankirtan. We can also think in a broader sense, like if we are serving in a combined way in a mission, because then also the word kirtan doesn't just mean the chanting, it also means the glorification, the spreading of this message. That is really kirtan. So then we can also, in a very broad sense, we can think of Sankirtan as a community of persons who in a harmonious way, following Mahaprabhu's principles, Chinada Pisunichina, they're trying to spread, the message of Śrīman Mahaprabhu. That is Sankirtan. So, Param vijayate Śrī Kṛṣṇa Saṅkalpaḥ. It is a sublime expression. Sublime expression. Okay. And there's so much in this verse, and I've heard Srila Gurudev indicate some other things. He mentioned a couple verses. This verse, and then there was another one, which he said they have their simple meaning, but there's actually so much behind that. I mean, that explanation of Srila Maharaj is very, very full, But I heard Srila Gurudev indicate some other meanings in here as well. So, but anyhow, we're touching upon it according to our ability. Okay. So we will continue to the next verse. tacha sampati chatushtayam paramanukulam. These 4 jewels are accepted as the greatest treasure, favorable to the performance of Hari Kirtan. Now, so we heard the first verse of Siksastakam, and now we're hearing the 3rd verse of Siksastakam, which everybody knows, which Srila Gurudev was always telling us again and again and again. Trinada pisu nichena, tarora pisa hishnuna, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sadahari. One who knows himself more insignificant than a blade of grass, who is as forbearing as a tree, and who gives due honor to others without desiring it for himself, is qualified to sing the glories of Lord Hari constantly. One who knows himself more insignificant than a blade of grass, who is as forbearing as a tree, and who gives due honor to others without desiring it for himself, is qualified to sing the glories of Lord Hari constantly. So in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song on this verse, he begins that line, Śrī Kṛṣṇa kirtana jadi manasatahara. I can't remember in the next line with Bengali, but he's saying, if you want to take the holy name of Krishna, then you need to follow these things. If you have some desire to take the holy name of the Lord, the holy name of Krishna, then you must have these qualities. Otherwise it won't be possible. Otherwise it will be a materialistic thing, Yes, so many things are told about the holy name. The holy name is this, the holy name is that, the holy name can do this and can do that. But you cannot take that holy name. You cannot begin to take that holy name if your heart is not situated in this way. So, more insignificant than a blade of grass. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has some very nice discussion on these points. And that if we think about it, we will see that actually our position is worse than a blade of grass. Because our problem is that we have this developed consciousness, which is a wonderful grant. But the problem is that we're misusing it. So we're actually harming ourselves with this gift. If we use it properly, we can achieve our highest benefits. But if we misuse it, we can greatly harm ourselves and others and the environment, as we see now today in such a gross way. So the blade of grass is simply living out its existence, as a blade of grass, and the wind is taking it this way, it's going that way. The wind is taking it that way, it's going that way. Somebody's stepping on it this way, and it's moving with that, and it is okay. It is accepting all of these things, but ourselves, on the other hand, so many waves are coming to us, and they're actually coming for our benefit. So many circumstances are coming which are really, a form of grace, and we are resisting those things. We are, with our concocted understanding, we're perceiving these things as unfavorable to us, and we are resisting. We are opposing. What's actually good for us, we are perceiving as being bad for us, and we are rejecting it and opposing it, resisting it. So we're actually digging ourselves deeper and deeper into our situation. So we are actually in a lower position than that blade of grass. So we will know ourselves to be more insignificant than a blade of grass. Tarora pi sahishana, who is as forbearing as a tree, who is tolerant as a tree. And that song of can you pass me that kirtan guide? It's so nice, that song, Śrī Bhakta-vachanāmṛtam. And so in that song, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains also the Vaishnav conception of tolerance. It's not just like, tolerating something on the negative side, but there's also a positive expression of that, which is to give to that person, to nourish that very person who is causing you harm, to have some positive feeling towards them. With affection, can also be added. With affection, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, and this helped me so much. This was like revolutionary for me. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he equated the word, the notion of tolerance with compassion. That helped me so much. It was like a revolution for me. That tolerance actually means compassion. If someone is disturbing you in some way, but you can look behind that and understand, for them to behave like that means they're dealing with something. They're in a very unfortunate situation. Then I should feel some pity for that, What they're doing to me is just a symptom of the real issue here. That's not even to be considered, actually, but more to the point, how can I help this person? They need help, Can I help them? Yeah. When we think like that, it just changes everything for us. We put ourselves like out of the center, frame, and what are they going through, So that is another point. And so Rikshasam Kamagun Korobi Sadam Pratihim Satyajyan Korobi Palam. Tolerant as a tree, you should forgive and forbear, giving up revenge, practice nurturing and protecting others. So that example of the tree is given because the tree is tolerating so much from the environment, but it is also giving so much, giving shade, giving fruit, giving flowers, giving bark, giving sap, giving leaves, and giving wood, so many things. And there's a very beautiful section in Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Well, I came across it in Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada's Krishna books that he made, and a very beautiful section where Krishna is entering the forest of Vrindavan, and he breaks into the spontaneous glorification of the trees. And he's like addressing his cowherd boyfriends and saying, "Oh, my friends, just look at these trees. They are such a wonderful example for all of humanity. How like they're individually tolerating so much, cold and heat and storm and so on and so forth. And at the same time, they're giving us so much. He describes them as these like very magnanimous, welfare workers and this philanthropists. How wonderful, how admirable they are. They don't say a word. Taking so much, don't say a word. Giving so much at the same time it is worshipable if one could live like that. And when we try to do that, sometimes we feel like we're losing, like nobody's seeing what I'm doing or what I'm going through. But we are gaining so much in the positive sense, in the spiritual sense. It's not that everything has to be announced and declared. In the substantial sense, we are receiving so much as a result of that. And amanina, manadena. And another point about actually tolerance. Gurudev put more emphasis on tolerance than the other qualities. He described it as being the most difficult Because, the other qualities, you can kind of fake them. You can pretend you're humble. You can show some fake respect to somebody. But tolerance, you can't fake that. You have it or you don't have it. You can't really fake it. So he points it out as being the most difficult, and he also points it out as being the most important. And he said, because if we are tolerant, then the other qualities will come from that. They will develop following that. And it's something that I've meditated on. And what I came to is that if we're tolerating, there's some situation that comes to us, then if we manage to control our immediate reaction, to tolerate what's disturbing us, then that gives us some pause to reflect. And in that pause, we have some clearer consciousness of the situation. We can begin to perceive more our own faults, how we may have got ourselves into this. So that brings about some natural feeling of humility. And also our appreciation for that other person, that can also grow. In that moment where we're just managing to control our immediate reaction, then in that space, we can have some clearer consciousness of the situation. So humility and also feeling of appreciation and respect, that can also develop from that. And that tolerance, the Srila Gurudev also points out, it must be with affection. Must be, if it's in relation to others,
Is it also tolerance to the the environmental conditions that happen to you?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it will take place in different ways. Mm-hmm. Actually, affection must be behind everything, actually. Because in terms of our circumstances, we can perceive that as the Lord's grace. So there's also an element of affection there, too. That is in this famous verse of Bhagavatam, Tatenu kampam susamikṣamano panjane vatma kritam vipakam hridvagva purva viradannamaste jiveta yumukti pade sadaya. This verse is Srila Sridhar Maharaj discusses so much, and he describes it as the highest regulation given in any scripture. And it discusses this point that what is the progressive way in which the practitioner will perceive these difficulties in the environment, and on one level they will see that they are responsible. I've actually caused this. There's no accidents. I'm not the victim of a chaotic environment. Why is it me? Why me? Why did bad things happen to good people? No. To throw all of that out the window. I have to accept responsibility. I'm responsible. That's on one level. And then on a deeper level, to perceive that this is actually the Lord's mercy and His grace and His affection upon me, trying to help me get out of this whole situation. These things are like wake-up calls, like there's something wrong here, Something about the way you have adjusted yourself in relation to the environment is misconceived, and this like red flag is coming up, like to point out it's a symptom that there's something within you that needs to be adjusted. That's what these things are. You're clashing with your separate interest, against the real current of reality, the Krishna current, the in-caring current. You are in a particular posture that is not in harmony with that current. You're trying to go upstream instead of moving with the flow. So there's going to be friction. And so these mishaps, they're highlighting there's something wrong here. There's some particular ego you have here that needs to be let go. So that's actually what these things are. They're just indications. They're red flags of something wrong in your own consciousness. So it is actually the Lord's mercy, the Lord's grace upon me. So to have that type of deep vision, such a person, they will very soon be liberated from this world. Jiveta yomukti pade sa dayabak. Once they stop blaming the environment, then they can begin to move forward in a progressive way, and they will become free of this whole entanglement. Just like a criminal, may keep committing the same crime again and again, keep going back into jail again and again. But at a certain point, if some transformation of consciousness takes place, then they may be in the prison at that particular moment, but soon they'll be out and they'll never enter again, because they've changed, they've shifted on a conscious level. They're beginning to realize what they've done is wrong and how can I change. So the mood of affection is also there, perceiving the Lord's affection, the Lord's grace behind everything. And then in terms of our personal exchanges, then in a more, then that if we really want to survive, if we really want to be able to follow these things, there has to be some affection there. Otherwise, it's not really possible. And Śrī Bhakta Maharaj has told us, maybe you heard it already, but he told us a very wonderful exchange he had with Srila Gurudev on this point, that once two of Srila Gurudev's servitors, they actually had some physical fight and on Srila Gurudev's veranda, in his quarters, and Srila Gurudev was in his inner room, and then he came in at one point, and one of them ran out, and the other one was crying and went in front of Gurudev, and Srila Gurudev told her, you must tolerate. And she said, I am tolerating. I'm gritting my teeth that I'm tolerating. And Śrī Bhakta Maharaj was there as a witness, so he observed all this. And Srila Gurudev told her, but you are tolerating by the book, and that has its limit. That can only take you so far. But you must tolerate from the heart, with affection. That is unlimited. And we see that sometimes, in ourselves or in others, someone's tolerating in the stoic, an artificial way, really. And then at a certain point, they just explode. There was one dramatic case of that last year in one of our temples. Someone giving the Sunday class week after week, year after year, 10 years, 20 years, and a particular person in the audience always, just interrupting, making totally irrelevant comments, and so the speaker, week after week, month after month, year after year, 10 years, 20 years, and then one day just exploded. Just stood up, exploded and walked out. So they were tolerating all those years, but it wasn't based on anything substantial. It was an artificial tolerance. It wasn't based on the heart. It wasn't based on compassion or understanding. It was just perceiving this person's really annoying me, and I'm just gonna deal with it and tolerate it and keep my mouth shut. That's only gonna last so long. Of course, maybe some people are better at it than others, but that's not what's really wanted here. We should have affection for that person. For me, that person is just I just see them as a little crazy, you know, like it's humorous for me, you know. It doesn't bother me like that. So, and we can also try to see how this is coming to help us, you know. I mean, like for me, when those things happen, like if I'm giving class and there's someone doing that, then I just take it as an opportunity to realize I'm not the center of the world. And I don't need to be the center of attention, you know, and if others feel they need to, you know, interrupt like that, then that's okay, you know. I'll just shift myself a little bit, you know. So, you know, we can see how these things are coming to adjust us, you know, in some way. And amanina manadena. This is very beautiful. That amanina, that we will not expect honor, man, we will not expect respect. But at the same time, manadena, we will give respect. And this is difficult, because normally if we are, you know, giving something to someone, we're expecting in some way that it will be reciprocated. You know, we will show respect, we will show affection to somebody, and we'll expect in some way that there will be some exchange, and they will also feel that for us. But if we think about it, that's actually like a kind of business transaction. That I give to you and you give to me. I scratch your back, you scratch my back. That reduces things to a business transaction. And so that giving of appreciation, it has to be very free. It has to be like no strings attached. No. I'm appreciating you just on the basis of who you are and what you have. Or the potential of what you could be. There has to be some appreciation. Even if we don't see it there, we have to see the potential. Saraswati Thakur, he made that point because he started these Ishtagoshtis in the Gaudiya Mats, and Srila Maharaj also followed that in Śrī Chaitanya Saraswati Mat, where if there was some disagreement between some devotees, then he would force them to praise one another. But he made one comment that even if you cannot find anything praiseworthy, then look to the Swarup, like that intrinsic, like spiritual person who you can't see right now, but it's there, like in a potential form, in a buried way, it's there. So go there, look to that if you can't see anything, you know. But in one way or another, there has to be some appreciation. So we need to have those feelings for others, especially the practitioners, our god brothers and god sisters. But we cannot expect anything in return. It has to be on its own merit, nothing to do with what we're getting. If we have that, then it's all spoiled. And that's very difficult, right? And then the challenge is if that person abuses you, then where do you stand? Then that's the real test. Do you maintain your appreciation, or you decide you don't like them anymore? Because we experience that sometimes, you know. We like someone, and then they do something that annoys us or insults us, and then we don't like them anymore. They annoy us, they bother us. And actually, you know, they're not so cool, you know. And sometimes we experience the opposite, you know. Somebody else likes us, and then we do something that bothers them, and then they don't like us anymore, you know. And then you, like, kind of exposes how superficial, like, a lot of our exchanges are, you know. How deep does it actually go? It's a little sad. So that's a real test for us, you know. We have to maintain our, like, that disinterested position, you know, not calculating things on the basis of our own interest, how it affects. It exists independent of how it affects us. You know, its value exists independent of our position, So in that disinterested type of way, free from our selfish calculation, we should be able to appreciate persons.
It all comes back to that freeing yourself up from being the egocentric part, like you're stepping outside of that all the time to...
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
To appreciate life.
Yeah.
From getting out of that way of being egocentric.
Yeah.
Everything's relating to me. And,
yeah.
It's not really...
Yeah, exactly. That's our disease.
Yeah.
It's a disease that we have. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting, you've got attachment to someone. So in some ways it's more difficult to deal with in a way. Like say you've got another kind of relationship which is like a nurse or something, with a professional relation. They have a professional attitude, but it's not cold, but it's different, it's like, I'm looking after this person. And, I don't know, yeah. But as soon as you start to get
attached,
this,
mine,
then things, it can easy.
But that relationship is actually helpful for us to conceive of, like a nurse and their charge, or a mother and their children, because that position, there's a lot of tolerance in that position. There's a lot of acceptance, because you understand this. The mother understands my child is a child, and the child may beat the mother, the child may shout at the mother, but the mother doesn't move in their affection, because they understand that they don't know better. That's actually a very helpful way to see people, to see them in that, with that element of detachment. We're all sick people, otherwise you wouldn't be here. We're all in the asylum, and to one degree or another. So that kind of understanding and compassion, that a mother or a nurse will have, it's actually very, very helpful for. Like, the child doesn't know any better. So in the same way, someone under the influence of Maya, they don't know better. They're just ignorant. You can't actually fault people for being ignorant. If someone is very calculated, that's a different thing. But mostly, we're all just ignorant, We don't know any better. We're acting under the influence of so many impulses based on acquired prejudice that we have. We don't know any better. We're just stupid. We're just ignorant, So you can't actually fault people for that, They can't help it. We can't help it. So... Amanina manadena. And one way Srila Sridhar Maharaj has commented on this Amanina manadena is in terms of how we perform our duties, that we will think my duty is my duty, and I won't expect so many others to come and help me. Like this dependency that we tend to have, like, why isn't this person helping me? Why isn't that person helping me? Or that we should feel, this is my duty, I'm supposed to do it, and everyone else is already doing their duty, and I'm not expecting that they must all come and help me. I will feel that, that kind of responsibility. And if they want to come, then they can come. I'll be blessed by that. But I will think that they are already doing their duty. It's a very, very harmonizing way, to deal with relationships that we have. Because this, expectation, dependency, it spoils relationships, actually. It puts this, pressure on others, and it removes the joy of, just naturally coming to give, and to contribute, to help in some way. It should be a natural, spontaneous movement. And that type of mood within ourselves, it will also it will intensify our feeling of dependence on the higher, on Guru and Gauranga. if we withdraw that like tendency of seeking, support from others in our vicinity and direct that above, then that will increase our mood of surrender and dependency on the higher. Such a person can always engage in Hari Kirtan. And another way this can be understood, this verse, and I saw Śrīla Bhakti-siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, I don't know what time it is. He also gave it in the other way. Okay. Okay, we'll just finish up then. Another way Śrīla Saraswati Thakur rendered this verse which is also helpful for us, but more the other ways in our current stage is helpful for us. That if you are really sincere to do kirtan, then you will be able to have these qualities. It can go from the other side too. Like if that's really your only objective, if your only objective is Hari Kirtan, then humility, tolerance, and respect, it will become easy. Like you're not here to assert yourself. You're not here for your own ego. All you want is this, and you'll find the way to do that in the most harmonious way. Then those qualities will naturally follow. I'm here because I want to serve my Gurudev. I'm here because I want to make something beautiful. I'm not here because I want to establish myself. I'm not here for my own ego to promote myself. So then naturally one will be humble, one will be tolerant, and one will be respectful. So it also can go in that way. It's like a kind of do or die type thing. Like Śrīla Gurudev Goswami Maharaj, he asked him once, how did you come to the realization that this verse is so crucial, so important for us, And Śrīla Gurudev, he said, it was not like that, like, one day I was thinking about it and I realized, this is it. And Gurudev said, it wasn't like that. It was out of desperation. That this is the only way. He said, I realized this is the only way. If we're really going to try to do this and do this in a combined way, this is the only way that it's possible. It must be.
Harmony.
Harmonizing principles of harmony. It's the only way. There's no other option. Like I'm trying to do something for my Guru Maharaj and I want to do this in a combined way. Then I have to be humble, I have to be tolerant, I have to be respectful. There's no other way. And there was one talk Śrīla Gurudev gave which was particularly sobering on these points. And he was saying how we see throughout history, and he mentioned Alexander the Great and Napoleon, and then he also mentioned other like lineages within Vedic India, and he said how we see they started out in such a grand way, but now where are they? Now what is their mission? It's been reduced to practically nothing. And he said the only way, if we really want our mission to continue strongly for many, many years to come, and to be able to spread Mahaprabhu's mercy, then we must have this foundation of humility, tolerance, and respect. We must have that. Otherwise, everything will just break apart. So it is so crucial that this must be the foundation of our missions. Okay. Well, very happy we could discuss these things. Very important topics. Discussion. Jai Śrīla Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Śrīla Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Śrī Prapanna-jivanamrtam ki Jai Śrī Guru Gauranga Gandharva Govinda Sundar Ji ki Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki Jai, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Okay.